180 years ago, a group of brave Texans made a last stand in a tiny mission that came to define a city. In a small bistro overlooking San Antonio's Riverwalk, one passionate chef is taking his own last stand against modern industrialized cooking, creating food those Alamo heroes would recognize today. Don't believe me? Just read the fine print.
We use only techniques and methods that existed in 1850 and before. You will find no modern food equipment, blenders, mixers, fryers, or anything with a plug in this restaurant. It's a restaurant with an attitude.
Gwendolyn is a restaurant playing by its own set of rules. No fresh ingredient passes these doors that isn't found within 150 miles of San Antonio. Modern kitchen tools and culinary techniques are not allowed in this kitchen. It's Chef Michael Sahaki's way of taking cooking back to its roots, when seasonal and regional limitations were a source of creativity and pride.
When you have to work around whatever the land gives you,
Yeah.
and sometimes what the land gives you is the most horrible part that nobody wants to look at, and it's important that you serve that thing because this is our people.
Turning cow brains into buttery foie gras is just one way Michael mines gold from the bits most chefs throw out. Hand-making blood sausage is another. Beef shoulder, house-cured bacon, and pig's blood is seasoned with hand-ground spices and cooked down with caramelized onions. It's all stuffed into pork intestine and served with house Dijon mustard, onion blossoms, scamorza, a locally smoked mozzarella cheese, and this.
I never feel quite so much like a painter as making this dish.
Leftover pig's blood is the base for a tuile garnish, seasoned with cinnamon and baked until brittle.
Thing all right over there.
Wow. You know, it's really funny that you serve this with the scamorza. I mean, that's very traditional, really compliment blood sausage superbly. And I love it. It's the perfect sort of light, mild, wow. We need 6 more blood sausage. That's 8 all day. Table 16. That's where I'm sitting.
There is no table 16.
No, really?
For dessert, another ingredient few chefs dare to touch, mountain cedar. The needles of this pollen-spewing allergenic evergreen are sliced razor thin and whipped by hand with a mix of sugar and water in a bowl of ice for hours until it takes on the consistency of exquisite sorbet.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, that is as herby and antiseptic.
Edible pine tar.
It's delicious. Oh. That's out of control. And do you do all of your ice cream sorbets that way?
Only for the service. They're
Right.
born every day and die every night.
That's commitment.
Unwavering commitment to a pre-industrial ideal hasn't stifled Michael as a chef. It's actually empowered him to question, experiment, and grow, using the finest of San Antonio's past to craft stunning new takes of its culinary present.
I have a very loyal following that I'm very grateful for. They give me this tremendous license that most chefs never experience, of complete freedom, that they allow me to live my life in a very agreeable way.
In the city over-associated with Tex-Mex, finding true tastes of Mexican tradition can be like finding berries in a briar patch. In a pint-sized restaurant on the outskirts of town, a determined group of young chefs is blurring the line between Texan and Mexican cuisine with stunning results.
Mexicans are young and upbeat. And when people open up restaurants in the States, Mexican restaurants, they forget the main element, which is Mexico.
Mixtli is a tiny 12-seat restaurant operating out of a once-abandoned railroad car in the city's Olmos Park neighborhood. Their mission? Redefining Mexican cuisine for a culture reared on watered-down Tex-Mex. Mexican-born chefs Diego Galicia and Rico Torres are the creative force behind this movement.
We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just showing people that there's more to Mexico than rice and beans. There's different climates, altitudes, indigenous tribes.
You're gonna have to send a written apology to the sombrero and piñata people, but other than that, I agree with everything.
I think we need a good apology.
Mixtli is all about showcasing hyper-regional Mexican classics and elevating them with modernist techniques. Every 6 weeks, a new menu is created highlighting one of Mexico's 31 states.
We're gonna start the menu tonight in Chiapas, in the Guatemala border.
6 weeks later, that menu is scrapped, swapped out for a new state, new ingredients, and new dishes.
Could you have set the bar any higher for yourselves?
It's very tough because you fall in love with the dish. Like, this is amazing. And once you fall in love with the dish, you have to kind of let it go.
From growing to processing to cooking and serving, Mixtli's 5 boxcar kids do it all. Most amazing, all the staff's tips are donated to local farmers and purveyors. It's an insanely ambitious concept, made more impressive by weekly supply runs to the border to collect ultra-fresh ingredients like Mexican maguey worms.
Stunning. I mean, I really do find these taste like the best quality Frito you could possibly imagine.
And the story behind it, there were no proteins. Well, there was no cow, no dairy, no chickens, no pigs. So these were available, and it was a big part of their everyday diets. And it's something very powerful.
And chapulines, roasted grasshoppers.
Look at that.
They're phenomenal. We're pretty happy.
They're citric and grassy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what people don't understand is that these little guys taste of what they're eating, which is the cleanest water and the cleanest grasses. Exactly.
Stunning on their own, sauteed chapulines are a staple protein in the southern state of Oaxaca. The Mixtli team pays tribute with a roasted blue corn masa crisp, topped with black bean mousse and charred onion ash.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Thanks.
Clean, toasty, nutty, just had that great flavor of smoke and sweat and corniness that I love.
Oaxacan-style grasshoppers are just an amuse-bouche to the culinary regalia about to unfold. 12 courses, spanning the width and breadth of Mexico, a greatest hits tour of Mixtli's first year in business. Tonight's group of guests was gracious enough to let me crash their festivities.
Cheers.
In Chiapas, the southern tip of Mexico, plantains are a staple dish, served at every meal. The Mixtli team roasts and molds them in teardrops, paired with sides of gelatinized fresh cheese and black beans.
It's fantastic. Your mind kind of plays tricks on you when you eat this, don't you think? Because you get those flavors and you associate them with other textures and other dishes. The cheese and the plantain together is dynamite.
Charales are tiny dried freshwater fish, beloved as an alternative protein in the lake country of Jalisco, a state in central Mexico. Mixtli immortalized them in a dish of tomatillo salsa and fried corn churro, infused with Texas hay smoke.
Smoke, salt, profound seafood crispiness. What do you think of that?
I think it's delicious.
It is delicious, right? Just can I offer some constructive criticism? It would be good if you served a couple things that weren't like perfect 10s and so awesome, because it's kind of restaurant shaming other culinarians in the region. Just bring it back 10%.
Also from Jalisco, braised pork ribs coated with dehydrated fried pork skin, topped with pineapple cream and chipotle pepper salsa. Diego and Rico consider it their tribute to classic Central Mexican tacos al pastor.
Wow. All the right flavors are there, but I'll tell you what's best. The crackling pork rind finish every time you swallow. It's just so great.
This dish revisits Oaxaca and those grasshoppers, this time paired with sauteed maguey worms sealed in a blue corn macaron with creamed onions and avocado mousse.
Maguey worms, based on that experience, who would eat them again? I love it. 13 out of 13.